How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you the season 1, episode 8 finale of this season of Heels on Starz. It has been a wonderful ride, and this was the best ending I could have ever seen. I love this ending because it's not just a happy ending. We see some redemptions, something is left hanging in the air, but it's to the point where if this was only season, it's a good enough one to leave your mind wandering. But you know what? You're probably wondering. You're probably wondering, how come I didn't ask you to please give me a like, a comment, and subscribe? I'm asking you right now, especially if you're new here. If you're not new here, you're not subscribed. Do me a favor and give me a subscribe. I deeply appreciate it. So, excuse me. Today's episode is called Double Turn. What is a double turn, you ask? A double turn is essentially a booking decision where you make a good guy become a bad guy while simultaneously making a bad guy. Making a bad guy become a good guy and a good guy become a bad guy simultaneously. It's usually used to further a storyline between two characters. It plays up the strength of the wrestlers to with their characters. Like, let's say someone plays a character that's a heel right now, but they're so much better as a baby face. They go ahead and they do it. You play that up, and it allows you to take this feud even longer, especially if the fans are invested in it. Some famous double turns, and I'm not going to mention the Ric Flair and Hogan one because one, I don't like Hulk Hogan the person, haha. Two, I don't really think that one was kind of weird and dumb. It's just really weird. Like, for months on end, they tortured Flair and his family. Then all of a sudden they're good guys. Nah, that one was dumb. The good ones, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. This made Bret Hart look like a jackass because he put Stone Cold in the sharpshooter, and they were both, Stone Cold was starting to go up, and Bret Hart was at the precipice of his career of being a great babyface, and you know Bret can't lose, and at the same time, Austin wouldn't tap. So in order to preserve the character, Austin just said, "All right, I'll pass out." Now, what made the double turn is this propelled Steve Austin because he didn't give up, but this made Bret Hart look like a bad guy because he kept that sharpshooter on Austin even after Austin passed out. Another one is Rock versus Mankind at Survivor Series. Mankind was a doofy heel and The Rock was a rising babyface, but when Rock was beating the hell out of Mankind and Vince McMahon called for the bell, Rock kept on going. So it was a nice little double turn. Um, so let's go through some things here, and I'm going down in order, almost in order of appearance. So I'm gonna start with Tom. We get a nice little flashback of, Ace knows that his big brother doesn't like him. He's like, "Why don't you like me?" He's like, "I love you." He's like, "Yeah, I mean, I get that you love me, but why don't you like me?" He's like, "Look, me loving you is way better than me liking you, because in the end, when I don't like you and I love you, I'm still gonna have your back because I'm your brother." And so they're horsing around. Ace touches his glove. He's like, "Hey, that's mine." He tussles, and his dad catches him. Tom was an abusive father because he was so protective over Ace. He even went to the point of basically beating up uh, Jack. Having him lock up and everything. He's like, "Oh yeah, you do. So you have been bulking up. You do pay attention. By the way, you said that was yours. Ace ain't yours either." And even his brother saying we were just playing around. I, I don't really feel bad for Tom killing himself. I feel bad for the people around him that is affected. Tom was not a good guy. As a matter of fact, Jack even admits to Staci, my father passed down a mean streak. His father most definitely did have a big old mean streak. And that mean streak definitely runs deep within them Spade boys. And yeah, it's crazy how Tom's death has affected everyone around him, but he did not seem like the best guy. You know what I mean? And that's matter of fact, talking about people who were affected by the death, especially the Mama Spade. I like calling her Mama Spade. I can't remember her real first name, but Mama Spade for sure is still affected by it. As a matter of fact, it's very easy to see because Ace invites her to the fair, and she's like, "Well, I don't good with fairs. I don't like fairs." He's like, "Well, who doesn't like a fair?" She's never really liked wrestling. People tell her, people say wrestling's fake, but wrestling was very real to their father, and it seemed to be the only thing that really mattered. And at the same time, it seems as if wrestling has taken a lot away from her. She never really got to make a lot of decisions, and I feel the pain on this woman. But in the end, she still watched her boys perform. She pulled out the old tablet and went ahead and watched the fair as it was streaming. Good Mama Spade. Um, we're going down. I went from Tom, Mom. Let's go to Staci. So after Jack gets back from getting his brother in Jacksonville, which is great because he dodged a broken beer bottle. He dodged a beer bottle. His brother dove on another wrestler and beat him up to get him off his brother. They were throwing people out of the way. They were dodging security. He had to leave his mom's car. He had to leave mom's car there and had to drive away in his Jeep Cherokee. I had a Jeep Cherokee at one point in time, and they had a nice little heart to heart in there. Uh, Jack lied about having something to do with tissue throwing, which was kind of crazy that Ace instantly asked him that when that was the focal point of the ending of the last episode. This is why Staci left. Staci left because of the tissue paper, because Jack instigated it, and very it's strange because she eventually, because he calls, she stays with a friend Courtney. Jack calls and says, "Well, just let her know I love her." She hasn't answered my phone calls, and she texts and says, "Let's meet up face to face." Goes to Courtney's house and he's talking, and she's like, you know, "I left because it doesn't seem like any talking was working," which it wasn't. This was a really great way of waking up and getting him to realize some things. And Staci flat out like, you know, you doing this to him, you're pushing everything forward, and you're being this bad person, this person who I did not marry to save the DWL. And she flat out tells him, you need to tell him, you need to come clean. And Jack, to his credit, he finally opens up and tells her a lot of things he didn't tell her. He said, did you know that the day that Ace was supposed to be pushed forward, go to someplace else? He called the woman at the grocery store. I can't remember her name, but the woman at the grocery store. He called her. He told her that my dad said he was a fat pig and she would eat her dead dog. And did you know he said before we went out there that I'm gonna stay in Duffy long enough to kill myself like our dad? She's like, "No, I didn't know that." He said, "Yeah, because I understand that he's emotional, he's young, and he's immature, and he says shit that he doesn't mean, but he was trying to get him to grow up. He was putting him through something, and he was putting him through something while he was there to watch it, so he can, control and stop him from being hurt. He's trying to get his brother to grow up because his father stunted a lot of his growth. It does heavily seem like his father stunted a lot of his growth, and Ace was a daddy's boy. It's shown throughout the entire series. He's watching old tape of his dad doting over him and things like that. Dotting, or is it doting? Doting over him. And Jack is saying, I get, I wasn't doing a good thing. I wasn't doing the best thing all the time, but I am my brother's keeper. I will always be my brother's keeper. He says, MF or FN brother's keeper. He says he'll always be his brother's keeper. And Staci says, you need to start by being honest. Tell him it was you. If you can do that, I can see moving forward because I didn't marry a heel. I married a face, and you are a good guy. And you guys could turn a page and actually begin anew, but you can't begin anew on top of a lie, which was, about the tissue and everything. She can sing really, really good. I actually think the actress that plays Staci, I think that's actually her singing. She did a good job with that national anthem. Not a big fan of the national anthem, but it's a good song. I prefer. I wish I could hear her sing something else that loudly and that passionately, other than a country song and other than the national anthem. I want to hear her sing more, but girl has a voice, and even not just in two different ways. She has a voice because she does speak up on her part. she's trying to figure herself out. And she's trying to save her marriage. I give her absolute credit for that. And moving on is, of course, Jack. Jack is a great husband because not only does he still he wishes her luck because she asked him to wish her luck, and he doesn't even take it personal that the rodeo singing got pushed up. Got pushed, it went from noon to a different time, so she can't watch the fair, and he can't watch her sing. He even tries to watch her sing minutes before he has to go out for the triple threat match with Bill and Ace. He's a really good husband. He even says, "Can I go in and tell Thomas good night?" And she's like, "Of course." Great parents. The love is honestly there. It's just he's making mistakes, and she's trying to figure out where things went wrong. Of course, everything went wrong when dumbass Tom killed himself. And I'm not calling him a dumbass because he killed himself. I'm calling him a dumbass because he was an abusive dad. It's sad that he did it, but I don't know if we'll ever fully realize why he did it. But we're off of Tom. We're on a Jack. Um, Jack did such a great job with communicating with her, and he did a good job in the car of at least turning a leaf over with Ace because he flat out told him, he's like, Gully, he's like, I came down here to save you from Gully because Gully doesn't care about whether you grow or succeed. He even said the same thing about him because they were discussing Jack stopping his big push to go up north. He said, the way you are moving, you would end up in 6 months. You would end up an alcoholic. You would end up worse than Bill. And he's like, I'm just flat out telling you. I'm sure I'm protecting you because Gully doesn't give a damn. He's just using you to tear down the DWL, which is actually what he's doing. He does not give a damn. And I gotta hand it. I thought this show was going to end with Jack not telling his brother, but when they're on that ladder and Gully and those FWD dystopia jerks turn the crowd from they were cheering for Ace and the double turn worked because Bill and Jack were double teaming on Ace. It was working, but the FWD people started chanting Jack, and of course the crowd goes with it. And then they have tissues, and people start throwing tissues. And Ace is like, "Did you do this?" He's like, "No, I didn't do it this time. It was me the first time though." And then Ace goes and literally just starts shoot fighting, just starts punching him. And for Jack's credit, he doesn't fight. He doesn't fight back until it looks like his brother's about to kill him. He elbows him, and his brother's choking him. He's like, "Don't do this. Like, don't do this." And it takes Crystal to snap this fool out of it. He is too. It's not even about being emotional. He's too immature. He cannot see the forest for the trees because you know what? You have every right to be upset with your brother. You have every right to want to beat his butt and knock him down and just beat the living daylights out of him. You do have that right to feel that way. But you're at work. And by work, there's a crowd of people. You want them to believe in you, right? It just he can't see the forest for the trees. The way Ace's mind works is like, well, I like this tree. Why do I need to care about all the other trees? All the other trees can burn down. I just like this tree. No, man, because eventually that fire is going to reach that tree. So if you don't take care of the bigger issue, then you can get down to what you need. And it's this episode this season ends off with him walking down the ramp because he shares a look with his brother. His brother looks very sad and very sorry what he did. Ace is happy with the conclusion with Crystal coming out on top, but he's still pissed at his brother, and that's the thing. Jack was fearful of his brother hating him, which is still interesting because he fully loves his brother. I do believe we'll get a second season, but I think in the second season we're gonna get Staci sitting down and reading Ace real good, like telling him probably if they don't make up by in episode one, probably telling him by episode two. You realize how much he has tried to protect you and deflect things away from you. You told him he was gonna kill himself like your dad. What did you think was gonna happen? You got to start growing up, boy. I hope she reads him down. I hope she reads into him. Yeah, Jack has a big. Jack had payback coming. All this tumbled down, just like his wife said, from him having a tight grip on his brother, not letting him go off, not letting him go off again to FWD, not letting a bunch of stuff happen. But I understand where Jack is coming from, and I feel I'm very elated that he now opened up his feelings, told the truth. I, I didn't think that was going to happen. I'm glad I was wrong. Ace almost ruined the fair. He was good. He was doing so good. He had a good. He was having a turnabout. He even gave the lady at the convenience store from episode one, gave her $10 for the Coca Cola that him and Jim got, and just said, "Keep all the change. Look, I'm sorry about everything. I'm really trying to do better." And he even works to get her fair tickets, and she does go. He gives her the fair tickets. I give him that, but this fool almost ruined the whole thing. Instead of going for that belt, he knocked over the ladder and just went to wanting to kill his brother in front of me. He even said, "I'll kill you." Like, if it wasn't thousands of people keeping up with the cheering, he could have ruined all of it, all of it. But thankfully, there is Crystal. But we won't get to Crystal yet. We're gonna get to Rooster. These jackasses even said, none of this stuff happened until Rooster got here. And yeah, Rooster stood up for himself. And Gully was like, well, I told him I was gonna give him the belt because he Rooster's basically saying he wants to be a good guy for whatever reason. He wants people to like him. And Gully's like, yeah, I promised him that and the belt. And Rooster's like, oh, my belt. Well, we'll talk about that later. If you really want to get back at him, ruin the event. There you go. Ruin all of that stuff. Which is, I thought they were just going to run out, which Gully tried to run out. But someone stopped him. Oh boy, and I can't wait to get to that. We're almost there. But Rooster's still there. Like, are you dumb? He flat out said that he was just going to take the belt that he just gave you. What is wrong with you? There's something wrong with you, boy. Just tell me what it is, though. What is wrong with you? Yeah. Let's get down. Willie. Willie is not. I should have put her towards the beginning because there's not a lot to say, but she was actually being supportive. She was being supportive of Crystal in here. Accepting Crystal's thank yous and apology and telling her, hey, do a great job. You're gonna be fine. On top of accepting the thing with Bill, on top of being a good mom and wife, like she kissed her family. She gave her daughter great advice, like believe all the rumors about boys, believe none of the rumors about girls. That is the Willie we need most of the time. You know what? I think it might have been her husband's. Her husband talking to her last episode that might have helped bring some of that out with her finally getting in touch with her emotions. Bill, good guy, Bill, Wild Bill. Did you guys? I don't know if many of you know this, but the Wild Bill name and persona, not just because he's all wild and because those two things go together. Like Wild Bill was actually a very famous Wild West gunslinger who ended up becoming more of a caricature of himself as his life went on. Like he hunted outlaws. He was kind of sorta of an outlaw. He's made Wild Bill, the actual gunslinger, has made tons of mistakes. He even accidentally killed his own best friend because he would shoot first and ask questions later. He was even acting in plays as himself. And yeah, he did die on his own terms, but I love the fact that Bill in here, his persona is Wild Bill. He does act like Wild Bill. This fool popped pills before the match. Like, he got super high. Because I can't remember the Cuban guy's name to save my life. I'm sorry. But he was giving him some things to help with the pain and everything. And he said, the next tier of stuff can really, really mess you up, man. And he didn't want to hear all that. He was like, no, just give me the stuff. And he got the stuff all right. He definitely got the stuff to the point where he shot himself in the middle of the match. And that sound that it made was so gross and so funny. He's he he convinced Crystal to be his the newest iteration of his old valet Bombshell Bunny, which has worked out fantastically. Everybody was on board with it. Ace was on board. Jack was on board. Jack was happy that she came back because she told a friend that she quit. But Bill got her to come back because I think Bill also felt responsible for that whole blowout with Ace breaking Bobby's leg, and and he does say a great line of, poor folk for some reason always want to blame somebody else, and she has some good comebacks, but he says, look, I'm trying to bring you out of obscurity. She wonders why is he being nice. He's like, it doesn't matter. Bill is he went from like main antagonist to middle ground anti-hero character, and he and the reason why I'm so happy about Wild Bill, good guy Bill, shitty butt Bill, because when Gully realized that they were calling, Jack was calling an audible, and they were doing some great stuff with Crystal. He was gonna say, "I got to get that belt." When when Bill saw him cross over there, he stood up and he had that brown. He shit his pants a lot, like he said. He had that brown mark on his pants and on the mat. He hobbled his way over and he clotheslined the hell out of Gully. Bill saved the fair and saved the day. Good guy, Bill. He. It's between him and Crystal as MVP. He's he's so close to being MVP just for not caring about how he looked to make sure she got her moment. And Crystal, so glad this episode ended like this because man, she she not only came back and did what she needed to do to propel herself forward, she she I want to say she made amends with Willie, thanking her for having her back along the way and everything else. She did her job as a valet, even when Bill went off script and was making some very nasty pie references. She did it. She was doing her great job as being Bunny Bombshell or Bombshell Bunny, whichever one it is. But when she says, "What do you need me?" She gets in the ring and gets Ace's attention. She snaps him out of that murderous rage that this dumbass little boy, you are a little boy Ace has. She calls an audible. She's like, "Hey, remember outside the bar?" Gives him the hurricanrana, and Jack's like, "Can you suplex me? I need you to get me out of the way." She's like, "Yep." She does the job. She gets the ladder. Everyone is legitimately happy to see her doing her wrestling thing, especially Bill, especially Jack, especially Ace, climbing up that ladder and getting that belt. She stuck around. And actually, one of the greatest things I actually really liked was we had a nice voiceover into the actual speech that Jack was given about the DWL being about family, saying all of them are family, some blood, some made through blood and sweat. I mean, some made through sweat and broken bodies. Ricky Rabies was there. CM Punk was there too. I love seeing CM Punk. Jim came back because apparently Jim was supposed to be retired, but he came back to do the damn thing with them. Anyway, he thanked all of them for sticking by him. And Crystal, as funny as it is that the white woman is the opposite of the black guy who he had gone through so yeah, I get it, Rooster. You went through so much and you were pretty much tired of waiting. I gave Crystal credit because even when she was going to stop and quit, she did have a wild bill. She had somebody to pull her up and say, "Hey, you can do great things, just don't quit yet." And she stuck it through. Her sticking it through and all her hard work, not giving up, putting in the work outside of the ring to be great in the ring. So between her and Bill for MVP for sure. Other little good tiny things besides Jim coming back just to wrestle the fair. I don't think he's coming back to wrestle, but wrestle full time. But he's wrestling at the fair in the tag match. Apocalypse and the Cuban guy, El Masco de Cuban. I like seeing their relationship. Like the Cuban guy doesn't really understand a lot of stuff, but Apocalypse is so intelligent, so well read. he even when they're poking fun at Debbie and Debbie calls them ingrates, he's like, wait a minute, is that a derogatory term? She's like, no, we're actually being ingrates. Love it. Love their relationship. This one of the best finales I've seen for a season ending of a show, especially for a show that you don't know if they're getting a season two. It redeemed several characters. It let us see some good light of certain characters. It did leave some some dangling fruit like, will Jack and Stacy be good, especially after Jack did the right thing? Will Jack and his brother be good? I said this back in episode 2 or 3. It was the drunken episode 2 or 3. I said I want to see them as a tag team. Maybe now the DWL will have female wrestlers. Maybe they can do more and showing like attack spots and stuff. That'll be great. All in all, I give this season finale a 5 out of 5 for sure. One of the best episodes in this entire series. Even though there's really no bad episodes in here, this is a very deeply character driven show. Based around this world of amateur, indie, and professional wrestling. Something that a wrestling fan like myself, someone who maybe one day, maybe I will do some wrestling. My grandfather actually wrestled. Funny enough, he was an amateur wrestler. Wrestling is it's a thing for all of us wrestling fans to love. And if you do not really love wrestling as much as the next person like myself, if you don't love it like me, you will still love this show. Character driven shows like this, man, it's very hard to find shows where you care about the characters and you can believe the world they are in. Good job, Stars Heels. Please, Stars, give them a second season. I know it's not produced by 50 Cent, but you can give them a second season. Man, as always, please in the comment section down below, let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you think of the series and the season as a whole. I Man, these last 3 episodes have been really good. Even that 1 week break in between, this has been fan freaking tastic. As always, leave me a like, please. If you are subscribed, hit the notification bell to be notified of more videos like this. I plan on putting something else in place of Stars Heels. Just gotta stick around and find out what it is. Uh, if you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Please be sure to share this video with all your friends so they can see the conversation we're having about this great show. I got 7 other videos about this show. It's a good one. It's a doozy. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you for taking a little bit of your time to spend time with me. As always, be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear your mask, be safe out there, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way, don't be a jerk, and I will definitely see you next time.